On October 3rd, 2023, my life hung by a thread after a devastating car accident, but instead of darkness, I found myself among angels revealing chilling truths about 2025. What I learned could change everything. Stay with me as we unveil a profound message that demands to be heard. That day was chaotic. I remembered thinking about my late father, reflecting on how much I wanted to make him proud but my distracted thoughts pulled my focus away from the road, and in a heartbeat, it happened. A truck appeared right in front of me, seemingly out of nowhere. The last thing I remember was the blaring of horns and the screeching of tires before everything went dark. Little did I know, my consciousness was about to embark on an unimaginable adventure. I recount feeling an instant of horror, my body bracing for impact as a jarring slam abruptly ended my breath. Time seemed suspended in those pivotal moments on that rainy evening. It was as if the world around me had melted into a slow-motion nightmare, every sound eclipsed by the rushing thud of my heart. When I opened my eyes again, I discovered I was no longer inside my car. I was floating above the wreckage, watching paramedics work desperately to revive me. They were so frantic, their expressions etched with urgency. I could see the shadows of their figures moving beneath the bright lights of their equipment. Yet I felt strangely detached, as if I were observing a scene from a distant film. I was clinically dead for 6 minutes, in that surreal moment. My emotions swirled in a confusing mix. Strangely, I felt an overwhelming sense of calm. There was no pain, no panic, just an enveloping warmth that made the chaos below seem secondary. Yet, like a conflicting tide, I also felt a gnawing fear of what lay beyond. Would I never see my mother or sister again? The thoughts raced through my mind as I hovered, alive yet absent. I was suspended between two realities, and the uncertainty gnawed at me. As the paramedics labored below, I felt myself being pulled away, drifting towards an oddly warming light. It was mesmerizing, inviting, yet laced with a sense of the unknown that left me both curious and terrified. Would stepping into that light mean leaving everything behind? I found myself in a radiant space filled with warmth, where the boundaries of time and place seemed to dissolve around me. There was no longer a car accident, no frantic paramedics, just a serene glow that enveloped everything in sight. As I turned and looked around, I saw ethereal beings that I instinctively knew were angels. They were unlike anyone I had ever encountered, and even though I did not recognize their faces, part of me felt as if I had known them all my life. Their very presence radiated a joy that transcended description. It was not just light. It was a profound and pure happiness that filled the space with an almost tangible warmth. Their features were gentle and familiar, evoking a sense of safety and love that calmed my frantic heart. Every worry, every doubt faded into the background as they glowed with a peace that I longed to keep close. Yet, beneath the surface of this overwhelming love, I felt something tugging at me, a part of my heart that resisted. I wanted to cling to the earthly ties left behind. My mother, my sister, my unfinished stories. Why cannot I stay? I wanted to scream. But instead, I was met with a tranquil presence that seemed to whisper comfort rather than answers. It was as if they understood my struggle, holding space for my confusion amidst the serenity surrounding me. Just then, the largest of the angels stepped forward. With a soft voice that resonated deep within me, they began to share messages, ones that would leave me both awed and terrified. I could feel the weight of their words before they even began to speak, and I knew that what they were about to reveal was significant, shifting the very fabric of understanding I had about life, death, and the world to come. The first revelation hit me with such force that it felt like a physical blow. In 2025, humanity will face dire challenges that can alter the course of existence, the largest angel conveyed, their voice resonating deeply within me. As they spoke, images flooded my mind in rapid succession, each scene more alarming than the last. I saw flashes of intense weather patterns, horrific storms raging across cities, communities uprooted as nature unleashed its fury. There were sweeping floods, each wave a reminder of humanity's disregard for the planet. I felt a jolt in my heart with every moment, as if I were absorbing not just the visual assault, but the anguish of those suffering in real time. It wasn't just nature turning on us. It felt like a profound reflection of our turmoil as a people, a tapestry of disunity woven into the very fabric of existence. Other visions surged forth, depicting societal upheaval that felt all too familiar. People in chaos, scrambling for resources and battling for survival. I could sense the frustration in their voices, the fears shadowing their expressions. It became clear that this unrest stemmed from a world increasingly governed by technology, our overdependence on machines eroding not just our privacy, but our very freedom itself. Automated decisions began to replace human judgment, and a creeping unease settled in my spirit as I understood the implications. Our connections to each other were fraying, and I could feel how the bonds of community flickered like a dimming light. Yet, amidst the swirling chaos, I felt something remarkable. The angels tempered the heaviness with a glimpse of hope, a reminder that despite the darkness, we have the power to change our path. Your actions matter, they emphasized, urging me to understand the significance of collective action and the strength of free choice. It was as if I had been holding my breath, and now there was a chance to exhale, to recognize that our destinies were not entirely fixed. Through that urgency, I felt empowered rather than paralyzed. There lay a pathway forward, even if the road ahead appeared daunting. I was struck by the staggering weight of this responsibility. As I began to absorb their message, the burden felt like a shared one. We are all tasked with the mission of transformation. My heart raced, no longer merely a witness but a participant. The call to action resonated within me, urging me to carry this knowledge into the world. As the visions unfurled around me, the angels conveyed their guidance with an urgency that resonated deep within my soul. These events are not set in stone. They can be altered through compassionate actions and understanding, the largest angel intoned, their voice wrapping around me like a warm embrace. It struck me how heavily the weight of their message hung in the air, every word laced with both warning and hope. They urged humanity to unite in love, to heal the rifts that had been so carelessly carved by division. Your stewardship matters, they insisted, drawing me in further. I felt their words pulse through me, igniting a flame of awareness. It became clear that our collective approach to one another and to our planet was crucial. Every conflict, every angered exchange, felt so trivial compared to the enormity of what was being presented before me. A profound sense of responsibility washed over me then. It felt as if the angels were handing me the keys to this immense power, instilling me with purpose. Every small act of kindness could ripple out to create change. I could feel the truth of that statement vibrating through my being, resonating with a clarity that was undeniable. Facing the enormity of the visions, the storms, the chaos, the struggle that awaited us, I realized that we were not powerless. Even amidst fear and uncertainty, we held the power to steer our destinies, but only if we chose to come together. It was a call to action that felt monumental, yet profoundly simple. I could sense the details of my earthly life blending into this revelation, personal experiences mixing with the urgent call of the angels. People were ready for this message, I thought, and it made my heart race with a blend of exhilaration and trepidation. Just then, a flicker of doubt crossed my mind. Would anyone truly listen? But the warmth around me swelled, reminding me that this was not about me. It was about something far greater, a collective awakening. The real challenge lay ahead. Would we act? Would the urgency resonate beyond this ethereal space? I knew I was being equipped for a journey. As I hovered in that radiant realm, I clung to the knowledge that even through the uncertainty, I was part of something larger. And in that moment, it became clear. The pathway forward stemmed not just from being aware of the challenges, but from the courage to face them together. When I returned to consciousness in the hospital, a whirlwind of conflicting emotions crashed over me. Part of me had tasted profound truths in that other realm, the gentle embrace of the angels, their messages resonating deeply within my soul. But another part wrestled with disbelief, asking if all of it was merely a product of an injured brain. I looked around at the sterile white walls, the beeping machines, and felt an overwhelming sense of dislocation. almost as if I was a character in a story far removed from my own reality. I had to share what I had experienced. I could feel the urgency, the responsibility to communicate the messages the angels had entrusted to me. But when I spoke about my near-death experience with friends and family, their skepticism struck me like a cold slap. They shared concerned looks, shaking their heads and dismissing my experience as a hallucination brought on by trauma. I felt isolated, as if the beautiful truths I had witnessed were trapped inside a fragile bubble, just waiting to burst. Yet, amidst that skepticism, strange synchronicities began to unfold in a way that I couldn't ignore. During casual conversations, I would hear echoes of the very messages the angels had shared with me, spoken by unsuspecting strangers. I noticed nature responding to my inner turmoil, a feather drifting softly past me when I felt especially low, or the sudden appearance of a rainbow during a moment of doubt. Each occurrence felt like a secret nod from the universe, reassuring me that I was not just imagining things. In my heart, I knew the truth of my near-death experience, the weight of it still heavy in my chest. Yet I grappled with how to articulate this reality to those around me. How could I help others see what I have seen, feel what I have felt? The conflicting emotions churned within me, a blend of clarity from my experience and uncertainty about how to instill belief in others. Would they ever understand? Or would I remain just another voice lost in the crowd of disbelief? But in the chaos of doubt, I found strange coincidences echoing the angels' messages. What might they truly signify? I set out with a combined sense of urgency and purpose to share what I had learned. I couldn't just hold the messages to myself. The weight of my experience was too significant to keep hidden. It felt as if the very fabric of those revelations demanded to be shared, to resonate with others who might feel the fragility of our future. Through public speaking engagements and community outreach, I created a platform to discuss my experiences. I wanted to reach those who needed reassurance or guidance, those grappling with their fears about what lay ahead. Standing before audiences, I spoke from my heart, sharing the intense visions and loving messages I had received from the angels. With every word, I aimed to inspire hope and encourage proactive engagement among those who listened. As I began to share my story, I quickly realized how many others shared my fears about the future. People connected with my message, and I saw tears and nods of recognition from faces in the crowd. I understood that I wasn't alone in my worries. By opening up about my journey, I hoped to ignite a spark of courage in others, urging them to take positive steps for themselves and our planet. It deepened my commitment to help cultivate a community of empathy, reminding everyone that we could contribute to a better tomorrow. Embracing this newfound responsibility as a messenger, I began to grasp a profound truth. Life is a precious gift, fragile and fleeting. I recognize that if we begin to change ourselves today, we could create a better tomorrow. I envisioned a world where our choices, no matter how small, could be the foundation for collective transformation. If this resonates with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories that can inspire collective action and mindfulness. I believe deeply in the power of our choices, and I want to spread that belief to as many as possible. The more of us who come together, the stronger our impact will be. Thank you for allowing me to share my journey. Together, let us remember that our choices can shape the future. Stay vigilant and loving. What if sharing my truth could ignite hope and catalyze change? Will you join me in this mission? Reflecting on the countless voices eager for change, I feel an urgency to rally others. Our futures are intertwined. Together, we can shift the trajectory of our world. Each choice matters deeply. Let us make them count.